10 minutes. T-minus 9 minutes. T-minus 8 minutes. T-minus 7 minutes. T-minus 6 minutes. T-minus 5 5 minutes. T-minus for minutes. T-minus 3 minutes. T-minus 2 minutes. T-minus 1 minute. Stand by.
How about that?
And we're off. Welcome to a Football Friday, everybody. It's bell ringing worthy. We're coming at you on Game Plus streaming, WQBZ radio, podcast, and all the rest. It's a busy day today. We've got Charleston Hughes, I would say the latest member of the Canadian Football Hall of Fame. That's not entirely true because they CFL named another the other day. But Charleston Hughes, Chucky's going to be with us in hour 2. Storm chaser Ricky Forbes is going to be with us. I'm excited for that chat. And Darren Moose Dupont is with us. He's joining us. Well, I'll let you tell him where he's joining us from here today, from beautiful Southern Ontario. Moose, you're looking like $1 million as always. Tell the folks where you have taken time out of your day to join us from, please.
Yeah, thank you. I'm up here outside of Guelph, the Guelph Golf and Country. Guelph Griffiths charity golf tournament, so that'll be fun today.
All right, Moose is there with Darren Moose Dupont. With Justin Dunk of 3downnation.com
Yes.
and various other entities. Listen, I guess we'll get right down to business here. Darren's going to be teeing off shortly after, 1 p.m. Eastern, am I right? So we don't have you. You might have to bail a little early today. But my first point of the Quick Six show topics here for Uniglobe Carefree Travel, the warm-up, is simply what our weekends are. And because you're the co-host / guest here right now, tell me what you're getting up to, Moose. The folks are always glad to see you. I'm sure you're busy. What's happening?
Yeah, we're going to golf today, which is going to be a lot of fun. We're going to watch some football. We're going to get outside. And, dude, I will say this. Ever since you and I did the game, I'm still in World Cup fever, even though Canada's out. So I'll be watching the World Cup final on Sunday.
Well, you're a couple of days late on that one. That was the poll question the other day. Will you be watching the World Cup final on Sunday? Put me down as a yes. I'm with you. I'm into it now because of that, and thank God that they are. Mine is this. I'm very excited about tonight's Friday Night Football game. I'm going to keep an eye on the BC Edmonton game. I want to get your thoughts on that and everybody else's on Week 7. I'm going to be broadcasting baseball tonight as we go after our club record 11th consecutive victory with the Millers. We have the CKRM radio birthday bash Saturday night, where I'm excited to be going into their version of a Hall of Fame. So it's a busy, exciting weekend. But you know what? There's so much going on. I was saying this the other day. Everybody has their focus fractured and in other places. You're sitting there in Toronto area. Our poll question, as the Blue Jays get back to it today with the Chicago White Sox in town, will the Blue Jays make the playoffs? That's the poll question today for Country Thunder. Where are they rating for you? What's the talk out there? Tell me your thoughts on that.
Well, they went through that awful stretch where the bats weren't going 20-some-odd innings without scoring a run. If Vlad can get going and have a good second half, I think there's a lot of optimism. I think the All-Star break provides some optimism and a chance to reset. Look, it's been a horrible first half, it feels like, but they're still right there in the wild card picture. So I still think this team is a playoff team. I think they find a way to get in, but we'll see what the second half looks like.
We'll be talking about that a little bit later here today because it is a Football Friday. The Rod Squad's showing up. They're all excited to see you, Moose. I appreciate you joining us from the golf course there in Guelph. Jason in Red Deer goes, Moose, 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 with the emojis. BW from Edmonton says, morning, RP and Moose. Jason in Red Deer's up, says, good morning, Rod Squad. Happy Football Friday. Jeff, the Stamps fan, says, hit him again, ye men of Calgary. Go Stamps. Vancouver, Eric writing in. He says, roar, you Lions, roar. Listen, it's the game of the week for me tonight is BC at Edmonton. And here's a little stat-oid for you because I just waited until this morning to crack the game notes. Nathan Rourke has never lost to the Edmonton Elcamos. Do you think that continues tonight?
You know what? I apologize. My video is choppy out here in the country, but hopefully the audio's coming clear. But you know what? It's funny. There's so many good games this week. It becomes which is the better storyline. Edmonton's been so good, but I like they still have to prove themselves every week, even though they're the best team in the CFL or one of the best teams in the CFL, depending on what you think. And Nathan Rourke and the BC Lions have had a tough start, but it's still Nathan Rourke and the BC Lions. And you have to prove yourself against the best. I think Nathan's still considered one of the best or the best quarterback in the CFL. Huge test for Edmonton. And I think they're going to be that underdog story for a long time. Even though they keep winning games, people are going to say, well, I'm still for the old Elks to show up, and Cody and the Elks keep everybody wrong. I think it'll be fun tonight.
I think it's going to be a great game tonight. Bill Edwards checks in, says, good morning, crew and Moose. Good to see you back. Brent from the Bridge City says, good morning, Rod and Darren. I don't know in this break that's coming up in about 3 minutes' time if you can somewhere try and find a good Wi-Fi connection, the data, whatever it is. I don't know that we could do 40 minutes with this from the golf course today. I was obviously a little afraid of that. So just in the break, I mean, it's not terrible. You, the viewers, you tell me how you feel about this, but yeah, Nathan Rourke 7-0 going into the game tonight. And with Charleston Hughes, by the way, coming up in hour 2, you being the longtime CFL fan that you are, Moose, what do you think of when you think of Charleston Hughes? I'll get into that when it's just me a little later, but what do you think of with Chucky?
Obviously, all the sacks, and I think of him and his big smiling face and his warm personality. I think he's been a great ambassador for a long time, and he played at a really, really high level. So I think about that. Always a happy face, and obviously the great play on the field.
Yeah, you know, I had to look this up, and what I love about this show is the wander down CFL history. I feel like there's not a lot of shows that do it. Your boy Shane from Deer Valley checking in says, morning, Moose. I'm here too, Shane, but I guess I'm here every day, so that's not news. But Chucky finished his career 21 sacks shy of the all-time CFL record, Darren. I've got it in front of me. The all-time sack leaders, Grover Covington with 157. Charleston Hughes finished with 136. And is it just me? Like, we got a minute and a half. Is it just me? I just feel like we don't have the characters or like we did, or is that just me? How do you feel about that?
So part of it is we're getting older and we look at it a little bit differently. We're in the game a little bit more, so we know all of them. But yeah, I feel like those personalities, kind of go away as you get older a little bit. But the big sack celebrations, the signature dances, where are those things, right? Where's the signature dance, the signature move? Everybody kind of does the same thing.
Yeah. Whatever the hell it is. I mean, it's, the
surfing
sack over the shoulder. Yeah, well, Chucky had the surfing. Like,
that's right.
Is there other people doing that?
No. But that's what I'm saying. One of the signature moves was him doing the surfing.
Yeah.
It was awesome.
Well, and things go by so fast. I never ever had the chance to ask Charleston Hughes where the surfing came from. So that's one of the questions, folks. Charleston Chucky Hughes coming up in hour 2 when we go to air across Nevada. They'll be excited to hear from him as well. So if you have questions for Charleston Hughes, or for that matter, Moose, everybody's all excited to see him today outside the golf course in Guelph. We'll continue it all when we come back, and we'll open up the text line to 902-518-3033. We'll be back in a jiff here on the RP Show.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw-up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
Looking for a new ride without the big city pressure? Come to Western Dodge in Moose Jaw, where you'll find an unbeatable lineup of Ram trucks, Jeep SUVs, Dodge Muscle, and Chrysler family rides. With knowledgeable staff, great prices, and that friendly Moose Jaw touch, you'll drive away with confidence. Western Dodge, big selection, small town service. Visit us today or browse online at westerndodge.ca.
Do you worry about how much someone drinks?
Do you feel angry or depressed most of the time? Do you feel neglected or unloved?
Do you feel that if the drinker loved you, she or he would stop drinking?
If you answered yes to any of these questions, you are not alone.
Not everyone trapped by alcohol is an alcoholic.
Families and friends are suffering too.
Al-Anon and
Alateen can help. Call 1-866-200-0223 or visit alanon.org/help.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with The Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is, you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more, there's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Across America, Country Thunder Music Festivals bring you the biggest superstars. See unforgettable performances by Zach Top, Lainey Wilson, Brooks and Dunn, Keith Urban, Riley Green, the Red Clay Strays, Kane Brown, Gavin Adcock, and so many more. Join the party under the desert sky in Arizona, on the sandy shores of the Gulf in Florida, or in gorgeous Wisconsin Lake Country. It's the music you love, live and loud. Tickets, hotel, and camping info available at countrythunder.com.
21-time nominated Grammy Award winner Dwight Yoakam. Live in concert. June 24th, 7 p.m., Temple Garden Center. Dwight Yoakam. On sale now at sasktix.ca. Dwight Yoakam Live.
All right, welcome back, everybody. It's a Football Friday. Glad to have you all aboard here today. Game Plus streaming, our own YouTube channel, WQVZ Radio, and Moose is joining us from Guelph. Say again, I'm a blockhead. We all know that. What's the golf tournament you're at there with Dunk, Moose?
Yeah, the Guelph Griffins. He's alumni, the Guelph Griffins, the university football team. So it's the alumni tournament this weekend.
Okay, whatever you did, you are tickety-boo, smooth as glass. Okay, it's a Football Friday. Everybody's excited to see Moose. And we have texts coming in on the Western Dodge text line, 902-518-3033. And the warm-up is brought to you by our friends at Uniglobe Carefree Travel, the official travel partner of the CFL's BC Lions, and also the ERP show. Moose, you know the highlight, one of my guilty pleasures of life is the game notes. Okay, I get into them the morning of the kickoff of whatever week it is in the Canadian Football League. I'm going to rattle off a few here and tell me what sticks, okay? Tell me what sticks with you from what I read this morning from CFL headquarters. Number one, there have been 22 CFL games played this year. 16 of them have had 50-plus points scored. 73% of the games have gone down to the final 3 minutes, been decided in the final 3 minutes. Of the rule changes, there have been 8 non-singles this year. The new modified rouge, there have been 8 rouges taken off the board because of the rule changes. This is the fewest turnovers, by the way, in CFL history, an average of 3.36 per game. Teams are protecting the ball better than they ever have. You know football better than me. You're going to have to explain to me why. Davis Alexander goes into Saturday's game in Calgary, 19 attempts away from tying Darren Durant for the most consecutive attempts without an interception at 323. He's currently at 304. Nathan Rourke, 7-0 against Edmonton Elkamos, as I mentioned. So what grabs you out of that?
The 50-plus points, the scoring up has been awesome. And then, obviously, the final 3 minutes. Everybody's worried about the clock, the changes ruining the game. And that proves that the integrity of those finishes, the final 3 minutes, is still there in the game. And the Rouge rule, really, 8 points, it's not affecting the game a whole much, but it's creating a lot more integrity around, the missed field goals being rewarded for it. So I love that. I think this should hopefully calm people down from these rule changes.
Well, yes. I mean, it's interesting with the rule changes. I mean, I think it might just come with my age. It's just not that important to me anymore. God bless the people that are going to handcuff themselves to the goalposts when they try to move them next year. Now over my dead body are you moving the goalposts? They had the missed field goal return here last week, and even was it Mike O'Shea, I think, said, we're really going to miss this. I'm like, guys, I mean, do you see much complaining about it or no?
I see it. Well, when there was that, I
You
mean,
do?
obviously on the missed field goal return, I saw that. But no, overall, I don't. Again, we're going to accept it. People complain about everything. They complained about the Red Blacks name for a long time. Now it's accepted. They complain about the time clock. I haven't heard that since. Yeah, it'll be a bit of an adjustment, but ultimately, I think the game is still going to be a very good product.
I don't think there's any doubt about that. I guess my point is, it's just, I feel like anytime we say anything critical on this show, they want to nail us to the cross. Yet some of the coaches can say their things, and certain people can criticize. And you always say that they're getting disciplined behind closed doors. I don't know. Maybe they are. You know what I mean? But it's just,
I know.
guys, can we just kind of go along with it? There is breaking news, by the way, out of the Canadian Football League today, and that is that Trey Ford will be starting at quarterback for the Hamilton Tiger Cats against the Argos Saturday. Does that surprise you at all?
No, that's another game that I wondered if they would give Jake Dolegal another start. But that's another game where I'm like, this is the game of the week. Big rivalry. You know, Toronto has been playing good, even though they haven't been winning a lot of games. Hamilton's got something to prove. You know, you mentioned the interceptions, and I didn't want to let that go, why they've been down. And I honestly, you know, you talk about, we say something negative, people jump on us. How about something positive? I think it's because the quarterback play has been so good. Top to bottom, we've got great quarterbacks in the CFL right now. And I know it's unfortunate that Bo's out in Hamilton and when Zach went down in Winnipeg, that's tough. But we have such great quarterback play. That's why the interceptions are down, because the quarterbacks are playing good football.
Well, if it wasn't for the Hamilton receivers, it would be even lower. Did you watch the game at Mosaic Sunday afternoon? Did you? I'm sure you did. That one drive where two receivers just puked up the ball like a Pez dispenser. I'm like, what are you doing? And they ended up getting it back upon review, and they still ended up throwing it away. And it was Woods brought it back however many yards, 101 yards or whatever it was for a pick six. My guys, you're not helping out Jake Dolegala here. Like, by the way, so yeah, the quarterback play's been very high. I just said Davis Alexander is on the verge of tying and setting a record for fewest interceptions or most completions. So yeah, I mean, the play has been tight, and it's not just at the quarterback position. You think this is an anomaly or a sign of the future?
Well, you hope it's a sign of the future, because, you know, we've this, the better the quarterback play, the better the better the league is. And we've got really good quarterbacks in the CFL today. It's a great era. And I know it wasn't that long ago that it struggled. Injuries are a factor, but, you know, coming out of the pandemic, it was tough. And there was some inconsistencies at the position. There was a lot of turnover. There was injuries. But now you've got good quarterbacks, marquee ones in every market. That's what makes it fun.
I'm going to tell you something. I feel like coaches and fans love old quarterbacks, and GMs don't. GMs are always on the lookout for the next one, the next one, the next one. That's their job. I totally understand that. But I saw this interview. Chris Streveler does a podcast. He had Trevor Harris on the other day. Trevor Harris is playing the best football of his life at the age of 40. Cody Fajardo is on a 7-game touchdown string. Touchdown passes. Like, he almost quit in the offseason. He had a chance to go coach at Nevada as a quarterback. Thank God he didn't. You know what I mean? So, I mean, older the better for me. Mm-hmm. And as the older you get, Darren, you'll be like me. We all root for the old guys. I don't want to see a change at the quarterback position in the CFL. I'm not sure I ever did. But do you see where the GMs are coming from? I mean, you and I don't think the same. That's why we work well together.
Yeah, you constantly want to find the next young quarterback until you find your franchise guy. I think you want to have stability at the position, but you constantly are trying to get better. You're constantly trying to get cheaper at the same time. It is fun when a new young quarterback comes in and is the hotshot young rookie, but it shouldn't be in every market. That should happen once or twice maybe even in a season, like in one team a year, maybe, you know, has a new young quarterback. And I know Ottawa is figuring out their quarterback position, whether it's Jake Mayer or it's going to be somebody else. You know, we got a good young quarterback in Montreal who's now now young quarterback. He is one of the faces of the league. So, it is fun to see the young players come in, but you need to have the veterans. That's where you really make your money.
It's really interesting that you say that. And of course, back working so much more in hockey now, I just look at it with the Florida Panthers. Like, I think if you asked Paul Maurice, he would not have wanted to get rid of Sergei Bobrovsky because he's won 2 Stanley Cups with him, wins a lot of games, and gives him a great chance to win every night. But Bill Zito had to move on for exactly what you were just saying, younger, cheaper. And I'll be honest, if anybody didn't tune in to the interview with G. Roy Simon on this program the other day, you got to go back and find it. Because I said to G. Roy has seen it all differently now, and he had front office roles in the CFL to kind of get his feet wet with that, but now he's the general manager at Maryland, Darren, and he said, even with us at the college level, we're trying to get younger and cheaper. Talk to Dunk about that. College football, trying to get younger and cheaper. Like, G. Roy's going to be so great at it because the GMs have to have a different demeanor than everybody else. They got to be calm. They got to be cool. They got to be businessmen more almost than football men. Do you know what I mean?
Oh, yeah, I do. And in the college game, I mean, CFL is not too dissimilar, but in the college game, that wave's coming and you ride it and you're really good, but there better be another wave coming in behind it, right? That's how the Alabamas and, the Ohio States, they keep winning year after year. And it's the same thing in the CFL. Calgary for a while always had a quarterback, right? You had the next guy always ready to go, nipping at the heels. That veteran, though, played his time. Like, look at the Green Bay Packers, same thing. Like, we're rushing young players into the game too fast, and when they fizzle out right away, we're like, oh, you're done, on to the next one. We use them like disposable plates, right? The second it doesn't, you're done, right? And sometimes it takes a quarterback. You just mentioned Trevor Harris. He was good early, but like sometimes it takes into your 30s to mature and learn the game, and then it clicks.
We are having a fantastic show today. It always happens when Moose is on. BW from Edmonton writes in, he says, Moose, what phone do you have? I need to replace mine. Great audio. It's his headphones, y'all. It's his headphones. That's what it is. You're an iPhone guy like me. Took you a while, but you finally saw the light.
Tried and true, baby. It's actually the new 17 Pro Max. That's what I'm using.
Okay. Jason in Red Deer says, I'd like the CFL to do a series like Quarterback on Netflix. Bro, I had this written down the other day, and I didn't say it. What are the CFL documentaries you'd like to see? It came up when we were talking about Kevin Glenn the other day. However the hell Kevin Glenn. Do you know the stories that could be done? And David Benefield said this once. You met Benny at the Super Bowl in L.A. a few years ago. He's so great. He's like, how can we're shooting documentaries on an iPhone? How can we not have these shows? Like a CFL documentary on Kevin Glenn playing or belonging for every team, all 10 teams? Sign me up. It could be a 3-episode special. Like, off the top of your head, and I got to put this to the viewers too, what's the CFL Netflix series you'd love to see?
I mean, we just had it come up with the Argos celebration of that John Candy, right, and the patch and everything else.
Well, there already has been
that
one of
era. Yeah, but a new one, right? Like Netflix, Rocket Ismail. We've seen that, and even the ESPN has done, whether it's a 30 for 30 on it. That's really great. There's so many good ones. Obviously the Grey Cup winning teams. I'd love to hear some of these old Saskatchewan teams being from there. But the quarterback documentary. How about like Trey Ford busting in and his thing, VA, his resurgence in Calgary. There's so many good stories under quarterbacks. How about the Argos and what they're going through, getting kicked out of their stadium, and a documentary on what life is like during FIFA? Like, that'd be pretty cool, having to go on the road and what they have to deal with and playing a home game in Saskatchewan.
Stop the presses. In the series, the 13th man.
Yes.
Mic drop. Let's go behind the scenes. Let's show the video. Actually, let's not. Of Chris Zarka bawling like a toddler in the locker room after the game, or Ken Miller in shell shock having to answer for it, and it wasn't even his fault. Oh, my God. We're the idea guys, Moose. We're the idea guys. Somebody want to pick up a camera and go interview these guys? Whew, it would be the greatest thing for the CFL marketing-wise, wouldn't it?
It'd be so good. It'd be so good, and then, I mean, you could do a football life documentaries on all these players, and then life after football. I mean, it'd be so good.
By the way, whatever you did with your cell phone, it's amazing. By the way, I appreciate that. Shane in Deer Valley says, yes, please, any CFL documentary. Well, we talk about the 13th man. I've said this for years. This isn't a new topic. Moose and I talked about this years ago. The Decade of Decadence documentary, Jim Hobson's time from 2005 to 2014. Let's bring back Kerry Joseph. Let's bring back Scott Schultz. Let's bring back. Well, unfortunately, so many have passed away. What are you going to say?
No, the live doc. Imagine AJ Ouellette putting a camera on him as he comes from Toronto to Saskatchewan and falls in love with the province, and they fall in love with it. You follow him for a whole season. That'd be so cool.
Ooh, yeah. Kevin the Medium writes in, says, good morning, RP peeps. Moose, you're looking fabulous. Rod, as usual, you're looking like a young man of 30. What do you want, Kevin? What do you want? He says, Flutie, Swervin' Mervin Fernandez, Rourke, VA. I could go on forever. And the must-do first documentary is Lou Passaglia's career. Very interesting one there, too. So what's the CFL documentary you'd like to see? Oh, my God, my heart's fluttering just thinking about it. Moose is with us for one more segment from the Guelph Griffins Alumni Golf Tournament in Guelph. And we'll be right back here on the RP Show.
Ultimate Fan Zone, taking our show on the road coast to coast. Shop online, ultimatefanzone.ca. Slick, user-friendly. We built this site for the die-hard sports fans. Jerseys, hats, team apparel, offering officially licensed fan gear from the best lines in sports. Nike, New Era, Adidas, Fanatics. Game day ready to your door. Now, just a click away, ultimatefanzone.ca, or check us out on Facebook and Instagram. UFZ Downtown Moose Jaw, home of everything authentic.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with The Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more. There's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
You have a vision, a big idea, but how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection, booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events. That's the EMJ difference. We position your brand where it belongs, Guy, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina. This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with The Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is, you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more, there's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
All right, final segment with Moose. There are a lot of things to get to. He's at the Guelph Grivens Golf Tournament. Just one more segment with him. But, Moose, this is going to blow your mind, and the viewers, too. All of it's going to blow your mind. It blew my mind. I was on the radio again in Amarillo, Texas this morning, 806 Sports with Kenny Nagunst and Dusty Boyd. And the co-host, Dusty, asked me who the Stanley Cup favorites were going to be this year in the National Hockey League. And I was like, what? I'm thinking WCBL. I'm thinking CFL. I'm casually thinking World Cup. Haven't even thought about it. So I just looked it up now. Who do you think, Moose, is the number one favorite to win the Stanley Cup in 2027?
I'm going to guess the Tampa Bay Lightning.
Not even in the top six. And you know what? It ain't your fault. Here's your top six.
Whoa.
Florida Panthers, Carolina Hurricanes, Colorado Avalanche, Edmonton Oilers, Washington Capitals, Vegas Golden Knights. Those are your top six. Tampa not even mentioned. But since you're sitting out there in the Toronto area, can you go a day without hearing about the Leafs?
Now we can, because everybody's taking holidays. All the Toronto media is taking holidays this time of year. So we do not hear about it as much every day, but it's hard.
Okay. Yeah. Are you saying that all the hype is media-driven? Wow. What a revelation. Ken in Mississauga writes in, he says, the decade of decadence is what got Mosaic built. Oh, that would be the best documentary of them all. Carlos in Indiana says, is Stu Joe or some CFL marketing person watching? I hope they're taking notes. Oh, yeah, they love being told how to do their job. They just love it. Vancouver Eric says, CFL marketing's busy watching TSN Overdrive discussing the Leafs schedule. I wouldn't know about that because I don't watch it. But you out there at the Guelph Griffins Golf Classic, Moose, what are you looking forward to the most today? And by the way, whatever you did with your phone last segment, can you do it again? Now you're unfrozen, but you seem fine. What are you looking forward to? What are you looking forward to today?
The tournament, having some fun golfing today it's gonna be great. It's fun to be out in the communities, in Moose Jaw, around the team, meeting people. I was at this tournament last year, so there's a lot of familiar faces, Barry and the coaching staff. That's what I like. I like being out and about and connecting with people.
All right, good for you, man. David, number 2 in Winnipeg, writes out of the Western Dodge text line. He says, do you think the new clock rule has affected the total points scored? I feel like you'd have to ask a coach or maybe a football player, but remember this. The last 3 minutes of each half, they go back to the 20-second play clock. So let's just remember that. But for the other 54 minutes, that would contribute, I would think, to the most points being scored. But again, you're more of a football guy than me. How would you answer David's question?
Yeah, good question. Never thought about it. In fact, it's actually speeding the game up a little bit, so that could help. The tempo is up a little bit higher because of it. But I would need somebody like a Nelson Hackowicz or somebody to look at, are the total number of plays being run in a game higher or lower from last year? I would say it's probably higher.
Well, the interesting thing is, from a fan's perspective, and I think a lot of media too, if you're watching the games, you can't really tell a difference from the 35 seconds to the 20 seconds.
No.
I'm sure a player could, a coach could. Kirk in Toronto writes in, he says, hey, Rod, Kirk from the Madawaska Valley, the game of the week will always be the Battle of 1873. Argos at the Ticats. You've brought up at least once, maybe twice, the Argos being displaced out of their stadium this season so far. They haven't even had a home game yet. How much play is that getting in your world?
A little bit. Not as much as I thought it might. It's kind of gone pretty quietly, but there's a little play there. I mean, the game here got to get the stadium back in a spot where they can get back into it, which I know that doesn't happen overnight, but it has. It's been tough. I mean, that's the hard part of the season. I will say this though, I mean, this week we're seeing more Wally Argo fans. Viably, they got to go to Hamilton and they don't get as good as seats and they're stuck in the nose, whatever. But I honestly haven't seen as much complaining as I thought we were going to see during the first part of the season.
Well, that's because the quarterback's doing it all. We've had fun discussing that over the past couple of weeks that Chad Kelly brought that up. And to be honest, Kevin, the media mentioned it yesterday. People are just tired of Chad Kelly talking. How did you think it looked that he brought up the schedule and might be a reason that they don't have more wins than they do?
Yeah, I mean, he's got a point. Again, anybody complaining or coming up with excuses, go out and win football games. And you know what? It's a long season in CFL. It goes by fast. But as long as you can hang around, they're a good football team. He's obviously putting some great numbers to start the season. Go out and win games in the back half of the year, and the Argos will be fine. And show everybody that home field matters to you by winning every game when you get back.
Yeah. By the way, there's like 5 minutes left with Moose, and I don't know how much. Kevin the Medium writes in, he says, so much for the iPhone, LOL. Samsung for us old folks. I don't think the spotty, crappy cell coverage out there has to do with your phone, but that's just me defending iPhones, so I don't know. From the audience, I'm going to want even more audience participation after the break once Moose leaves. But Jason in Red Deer says, just imagine how much more we're going to hear about Toronto now that all media outlets out west are being shut down. What is your take? Because I haven't had you on the air since those radio stations shut down in Vancouver and Calgary. And what's the word out there where you're at on that?
Yeah, it's the word is it's tough and it sucks and it feels for everybody involved. You really do. But it goes in cycles and in waves, I feel like. And just because things happen now doesn't mean it's gone forever. I would ask people complaining, like, how often are you watching the news or watching or listening to these outlets that are being closed down? Is that people aren't listening and they're not able to sell as much advertising and make as much money, and that's hard. It's not a charity. We're not putting, like, the government. We don't like funding the CBC. So what, the government's going to fund these radio stations to stay alive and these TV outlets? It's not. And you're not going to want to pay your tax dollars towards it. We want it for free. We want it accessible, but we also don't want it to go away, which means somebody's got to pay for it. So that's tough. But if it goes away and there's a need and a demand, what it will create is opportunity for somebody like us creating this show, or Jason Gregor starting the sports talk again in Edmonton, or Dustin Nielsen, or any of these others. It'll create opportunity. Somebody might create a local news, and it might be an opportunity for a young entrepreneur, just not for the big businesses anymore.
All right, Moose, we heard everything that you said pretty much, but your screen's pretty much frozen, so we'll let you go tee off. I appreciate the time. Corey, if you can get the RP Show logo up and ready to go. And Moose, thanks for the time. Have a great weekend.
Appreciate it. Thanks, guys.
All right, we got a few moments left in this particular segment. And again, if you can throw up the RP Show screen, Corey, that would be great. If not, we can look at Moose and his handsome face for the next couple of minutes. We only got a couple of minutes till the break. Darren just brought up a really good point. Thank you, Corey. The sponsors are what keeps us on the air. It's what keeps any broadcasters on the air, and we thank ours. And it would be great if you could help them out, like Kevin the Medium has, and any of you that have purchased your spot on the CFL cruise of a lifetime. Join CFL legends Adam Bighill, Willie Jefferson, Jake Serezna on a 7-day cruise departing from Fort Lauderdale February 20th. Don't be sitting there in February, the coldest days of the year, going, I wish I'd been on that cruise. Book your spots now. A once-in-a-lifetime experience for CFL fans. Prices from $18.99, cruise only. Contact Neil Chark at Uniglobe Travel. His contact info is on the screen. Neil at uniglobecarefree.ca. So up until the top of the hour, I'll be reading off the sports news of the day and getting your take on it. 902-518-3033. But it is a Football Friday, and this is the Canadian Hour. So it's something that I could talk about a lot because I think about it more than I should. What is the CFL documentary you'd love to see in a Netflix series? or Paramount or what have you. Number one for me is Decade of Decadence. The career of Wally Buono, The Godfather, The Don, Dodd Matthews. I feel like, frankly, we talk about the story of the CFL isn't really being told by anybody. And that is a shame. When I meet young people that don't really follow it as closely as we were being brought up, that's a crying shame. And that could be changed. We'll be right back here on the RP Show.
Across America, Country Thunder music festivals bring you the biggest superstars. See unforgettable performances by Zach Top, Lainey Wilson, Brooks and Dunn, Keith Urban, Riley Green, the Red Clay Strays, Kane Brown, Gavin Adcock, and so many more. Join the party under the desert sky in Arizona, on the sandy shores of the Gulf in Florida, or in gorgeous Wisconsin Lake Country. It's the music you love, live and loud. Tickets, hotel, and camping info available at countrythunder.com.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with The Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is, you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more, there's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw-up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
You have a vision, a big idea, but how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection. Booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events. That's the EMJ difference. We position your brand where it belongs, Guy, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
All right, welcome back, everybody. It is a Football Friday, and that's kind of what we're sticking to. And it's the Canadian Hour, so a lot of CFL talk here today. Western Dodge brings you the text line 902-518-3033. Drive with confidence. Shop Western Dodge. Financing, selection, and service you can count on. When we do talk hockey, it's for the Mad Greek. I feel like I'm going to find my way to the Mad Greek this weekend. Are you craving the famous Greek ribs? They're the best that you'll ever have. And I'm not lying just because they sponsor this show. Get yours today at the Mad Greek Eatery. This town is going off, man, in Moose Jaw. It is a tourist hub. You'd have to come down to see it. And when you do, check out the Mad Greek and tell the Mad Greek Johnny Utretas that we sent you. I could sit here and I feel like I'm going to until the top of the hour reading off your comments, everybody, because it's a special day. I'm always ready for the weekend. I feel like you people are too, once Fridays roll around. Jason, you've kind of ruined my life, Jason and Red Deer, momentarily. He said again, just imagine how much more we are going to hear about Toronto now that all media outlets out west are being shut down. Like, just think about that for a second. It's been unbearable in my entire lifetime how much we get Toronto crammed down our throat. And Jason just pointed out that it's going to be even more. That's a wow. Anyways, to what CFL documentaries would you like to see produced? And I'm not a filmmaker. I'm not. We sat around and talked about this early days of this show. It's not easy to put this stuff together. I mean, for instance, that guy down there, Ron, I can't remember his last name. He was the newspaper writer at the Baltimore newspaper. He did a documentary on the Stallions, the CFL Stallions. It's amazing. I was a big part of that. That would be one. The U.S. expansion era. My God. Yeah, but I was told for years by the CFL people that they don't want to remember that era. And those people, by the way, are long gone. But they were the close friends of mine in the Cohan regime that were like, Rod, stop talking about it. Why? It was embarrassing. We don't want to talk to. That's why when you are working within the league, i.e. making a paycheck, not only for the league, but within the league, you got to take your direction from the head office. You really do. So I stopped talking about it. I didn't agree, but I stopped talking about it. And I just, to this day, tell me what parts of CFL history do you see being talked about a lot? I don't see a lot. I don't know how many of you were watching yesterday, but I brought up Calvin Tiggle. He's the latest that's been announced to the Canadian Football Hall of Fame. And now there's CFL history being brought up. And I don't hate the way that they are sporadically or periodically announcing the Hall of Famers as the season goes along. But Vintage Sasko writes in on the YouTube feed, and he says, CFL documentary Roadkill. Gainer the Gopher, the Riders mascot, surviving last weekend's game in 50-degree heat. I'll tell you what, my mom had the best lines, but she said, youth is wasted on the young. I thought I had a tough job when I was 18 years of age being the sideline reporter for Rough Rider radio broadcast, but in retrospect, it was actually pretty easy. I was very shy, believe it or not, coming off the farm. I'm a farm kid from rural Saskatchewan, and they're forcing me to go stick my mic in there and interview a very angry Danny Barrett, the quarterback for BC, or a very angry Don Matthews, the coach of the Toronto Argonauts. Wasn't a lot of fun. But anyways, as I was on the sidelines, I told this yesterday, I'll tell it again for the benefit of those that weren't here. In a TV timeout, I want to say 1991, whatever year it was, I was doing sidelines. I did the sidelines for several years on the Rider broadcast. In a TV timeout, Gainer the Gopher used to come out and ride his bike around the turf in the old place, and Calvin Tiggle knocked him off the bike, took the bike, and he rode it around. Does anybody else remember that? The star linebacker for the Hamilton Tiger, waving to the crowd, riding the mascot's bike. I mean, these days, you'd be thrown in jail these days if you did that. And maybe you should be. But do you remember the furor in the new place when Gainer the Gopher, I think the Riders had to issue an apology because he touched sexually suggestively the Ticat stuffed. When they say they were the good old days, they were literally the good old days. Oh, by the way, the guys are asking, are there more plays with the new clock? Which is another thing. Shane in Deer Valley says, live, you can see the play clock more. Yeah, very similar to the 22nd overall, but more consistent between referee crews. AJ's watching in North Battleford. He says, I'm sure I saw that the total number of plays is up significantly this year due to the 35-second play clock. Ken in Mississauga writes in regarding Moose joining us from the Guelph Golf Course. He says, maybe that's why the Argos didn't play home games in Guelph. Spotty internet. And then I said I'd sit here and just read these comments to you. I'm more than happy doing that. But, with regards to we all watch the games differently, right? I don't watch them as a coach, and I don't watch them. Well, that's hockey, football, or any of the sports. And I don't really like watching them as a broadcaster. And I don't have the sound down because I don't like the announcers. I'm just not interested in what they have to say. I just want to watch the game as a fan. And I'll be perfectly honest, when the intermission comes on, or like the intermission or halftime, I told you the other day, I flip over to Forensic Files. Oh, and the other day, they had the story about the Kipling doctor. And I'll be spending a little bit of the weekend realizing literally how long I've been around. Dr. Robert Schneeberger I remember when we were reading those stories on the news in the 90s, the Kipling doctor I don't even really remember what he was doing, convicted of drugging and sexually assaulting his patients in the Kipling hospital. That was on. Whenever there's a Canadian episode on Forensic Files, it's just a fun little game at whack-a-mole looking for the Canadian episodes on Forensic Files. There's a ghost in here turning the lights on and off. I'm not sure if you noticed. Regarding CFL documentaries we'd like to see, Carlos in Indiana says you have the telethons. I think that was only here, but one owner owning two teams. The Brayley Bowl. Chris Jones himself is a documentary. These are all Carlos's suggestions, not mine. He says the Ottawa Renegades. Some of those might be 30 for 30 entries. That's where I met Arash Madani. He was the PR guy for the Ottawa Renegades, and we were thick as thieves immediately. Yes, Robin Vegas writes in and says, Ron Snyder. That is the newspaper reporter from Baltimore that did the documentary on the Stallions, and I've seen it. It's good. Rob from Las Vegas says, by the way, the worst job in CFL history, the Las Vegas Posse mascot regularly got heat stroke and threw up in his costume. Hey. Can we get a hold of that guy? Is he still around, or girl? I'll tell you what comes up regularly around this place where I spend my summers, Moose Jaw, Saskatchewan, Canada, the night our fans with the Regina Pats beat up their mascot, who was named Puckhead, and the mask rolled off, which was a big cardboard puck, and it was a woman. That was very traumatic and stressful for everybody, and they still talk about it. Wayne in BC writes in, he says, I wish there were more documentaries on the CFL, but there are many good books on the CFL, including a couple from you, Rod. I appreciate you saying that, Wayne. Yeah, we got a few on the shelf, but I feel like I got to do a lot more reading. I was working on one, frankly. I was going to do a book on Hall of Famers, and I had complete carte blanche from the Canadian Football Hall of Fame when the executive director was Mark DeNoble. He's not anymore. And I started doing some of the interviews. Can you imagine? From A to Z, Damon Allen to Ben Zabiazzi, Canadian Football Hall of Famers tell their stories, A to Z. I think we've talked about it on the show before. Damon Allen for A, Wally Buono for B, Wally Zatilny, although I'm not sure Zatilny's in the Hall of Fame, but Zabiazzi definitely. I interviewed Jurison. I interviewed Danny Mack. I mean, these stories were great. I just kind of put that I put that on the shelf, metaphorically speaking. But Danny Mack told me in that interview that he grew up watching the CFL on ESPN, and that's how he knew all of the rules. When he came up here in 1990 and then began starring in 1991 for Winnipeg, he already knew the rules because he'd been watching the game on TV. Does that not tell you the importance of getting your game out in front of people? I'll tell you what, I could write that book, maybe a couple more, and you'd never hear from me again because that would be the retirement plan right there. I think that would it sell? Would it really sell? The Canadian Football Hall of Fame said you can have our logo, that seal, and put it right on the front if you want. Endorsed by the Canadian Football Hall of Fame. I'm not sure that would even be a thing because the CFL runs it out of their head office now. David in Winnipeg writes, and he says, a great poll question would be what player from each CFL team would be the team's GOAT? Well, that book would be the size of the Manhattan phone book because how do you argue? I mean, just sitting here and who was Lancaster here. That ain't hard. Maybe it's not that hard. Well, maybe it's thin as a pamphlet. Who's the greatest Winnipeg Blue Bomber? You all tell me. Could it be a coach? Who is the greatest player from your team? We cracked that with 1 minute to go in hour one. Although there will be a lot of CFL talk in hour two. Charleston Hughes will be joining us, the second latest addition to the Canadian Football Hall of Fame. And storm chaser Ricky Forbes, we're part of the influencer agency Creator Aid. It's part of our partnership. And I'm actually, why the hell not? We're in storm season. Let's bring on Ricky Forbes. I've been a fan of his for a long time. Ricky Forbes is coming up in hour two. It's in the shorter segment in hour two. It won't be a long interview, but if you have any questions about storm chasing, fire them my way. 902-518-3033 is the text line. Oh, by the way, the poll question is, will the Blue Jays make the playoffs? It's for Country Thunder. 70% saying yes. Just throwing that out there. We'll continue it all in hour two right after this.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
You have a vision, a big idea, but how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection. Booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events, that's the EMJ difference.
We position your brand where it belongs, Guy, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw-up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
You have a vision, a big idea, but how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection. Booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events, that's the EMJ difference.
We position your brand where it belongs, Guy, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with the Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is, you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more. There's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
How about that?
Okay. Fridays are always special, but this is extra special on the RP Show. Make yourself at home and get comfortable. Two special guests coming up on the program today as we welcome viewers across Nevada on Silver State Sports in Las Vegas, still rocking and rolling on Game Plus out of Toronto, streaming there, our own YouTube channel, The Rod Pedersen Show, WQVZ Radio. A big howdo to our friends across the U.S. South listening on 1700 AM, WQVZ Radio there. I'm your affable host, RP. And so the guests that are coming up today, we got a lot of sports to get to, but Charleston Hughes was in the NFL with the Philadelphia Eagles in 2009. He's from Saginaw, Michigan, but he really made his name in the game of football in the Canadian Football League. And if you look him up right now, it ain't hard to spell. Charleston Hughes, he's the living, breathing definition of a Hall of Famer. 8-time divisional All-Star, 6-time All-Pro, 2-time Grey Cup champion, Canadian Football League champion, 5-time league sack leader. The story is sad in only that this COVID derailed the end of his career. He missed a season in 2020 when the CFL wiped it out. So he finished his career all-time 5th in sacks in the Canadian Football League, 21 behind the leader, Grover Covington. I just feel like had he been able to play at the end of his career without the season being wiped out and all the rest, he'd have retired as the all-time sack leader in the Canadian Football League. But either way, he was announced last week as going into the Canadian Football Hall of Fame, and he's going to be with us coming up in the second segment of this hour, brought to you by our friends at Prairie Panels. And then later on in the hour, you can help me out with this. You can help me out right now, actually. Ricky Forbes is going to be joining us. He's a professional storm chaser. And listen, I've spent a lifetime in sports and media, and that's where I'll die. It's not changing now. And, of course, the recovery industry, too. But I've always kind of been fascinated by the storm chasing thing. We all love the movie Twister. And that's like going to be my first question for him. But do you have questions for Ricky Forbes? He's coming up later. Professional storm chaser. We belong to the same influencer agency, Creator Aid. I just want to know, is it like the movie Twister, or did they dress that up? Did they Hollywood it? Because I feel like it would be a very exciting profession. But I don't know. I don't know anything about it. So Ricky Forbes is coming up as we are in the throes of storm season. Okay. Carlos in Indiana, by the way, with a nice compliment. He says, for all the hour 2 only people, you missed a great hour 1. So for those that are watching on Silver State Sports, you may want to look up our YouTube channel and go back and watch that. But we're getting down to business. Well, point 1 is simply our weekends. What was I saying an hour ago? And I've been saying it for the last couple of weeks. When the NFL's not playing, when the NHL's not playing, everybody's scattered. Yeah, there's the hardcore CFL fans. That's what hour 1 was for. So I talked about what our weekends will entail, because we are human beings as well, believe it or not. Last I checked, I got baseball tonight, our Miller Express baseball, going after a franchise record 11th consecutive victory, and then I'm going into what they're calling the Hall of Fame, the 100-year birthday bash of CKRM Radio. I'm one of 9 icons going into that thing. That's Saturday night, so I'm excited about that. And then the World Cup, I guess we'll mention that as we get into the topics here. That's Sunday. So it's very, very busy. That's point 1. What's yours? What's your weekend entail? Sports watching, getting outside. Point 2, I'll say this, and do the sponsor mention here. We're brought to you by, morning, guys. How you doing? Get a nice haircut, Will. Just get that? It's working for you. No worries. Star right fielder from Australia, University of Sioux Falls, Will Edwards. Where's number 27? That's number 2 in the lineup. Did I tell you how much I love doing baseball? The warm-up is brought to you by Uniglobe Carefree Travel, the preferred travel partner of the RP Show, and the BC Lions of the CFL. When it comes to sports trips, group travel, or your next great getaway, trust the pros who handle every detail so you can enjoy the journey. Contact Neil Chark with Uniglobe Carefree Travel. Neil at uniglobecarefree.ca. Don't get tripped up on the spelling now. Neal. Neil at uniglobecarefree.ca. So point 2 is the CFL lid lifter, because why not? There's no other outdoor football going on right now. We talked about it. Here's some game notes for you. I love this so much, reading the game notes every week. And I don't do it until the morning of the first game of the week, which is kicking off tonight. The BC Lions at the Edmonton Elks, 7 p.m. I don't know what channel it's on. Find it yourself. I'm not the TV Times or TV Guide. But there have been 22 games played in the Canadian Football League this year. 16 of them have had 50-plus points. That's a lot. 73% of the games have been decided in the final 3 minutes. That's a really good thing. Because I was thinking about this the other day. We all want, as fans, blowouts by our teams on the winning side. For instance, the other night, we pounded the team from Fort McMurray, Alberta, 18-3, and nobody left the ballpark. And just so you know, we're selling out every game. But I hated it as the broadcaster. Thank God they instituted a 10-run mercy rule in the offseason, which I didn't even know about. They called the game after 8, and I'm like, oh, thank God we can go home. But 2013 Grey Cup, we're motorboating the Hamilton Tiger Cats. I'm the voice of the team. I can say we. Shoot, it was like 35-1 at halftime or something. And we went on to win 45-23, and nobody left the stadium. And I just find that as broadcasters and as leagues, we don't want blowouts. We want close games. But all I'm saying is the fans love the blowouts. What's up, Will? You need a speaker? You're good. No, you're good. 18-3, we blew out Fort McMurray, and nobody left the ballpark. Fans love blowouts, and obviously teams do too when you're on the right side. But as broadcasters and the league, they don't want them. Oh, as I continue, this is the fewest turnovers in league history. I mean, if you really wanted to get into it, why? You know, we could bring on the football people I could ask Chucky when he joins us next, Charleston Hughes, or Mike Davis would be a really good guy to ask, the head coach of the Vegas Nighthawks, who graciously took a knee this week. So Charleston, who Mike used to coach, could join us. 3.36 turnovers per game. That's an all-time league low. Why? Moose Dupont joined us last hour from the Guelph Griffins Alumni Golf Tournament just outside Toronto, Ontario, Canada. He says it's because of the stellar quarterback play, and I can't say that he's wrong. That actually rolls into another game point. Davis Alexander out of Portland State, starting quarterback for the Montreal Alouettes, is 19 passing attempts away from tying a record for the most straight passing attempts without an interception. So, yeah, the quarterback play has been an all-time high. But, I mean, I watched the game Sunday with the Hamilton Tiger Cats receivers were just throwing the football away from themselves, fumbling it all over the place. And it's so clearly they're not being taught ball security there. Why is the turnover ratio, the number of turnovers, at an all-time low? It's fascinating to me. And then with this Friday night football game, the BC Lions and their star young quarterback, Nathan Rourke, NFL journeyman backup, but the face of the CFL, 7-0. He's never lost versus the Edmonton Elks. Is tonight. That's what the Edmonton folks say. That is the Week 7 lid lifter. We've done picks all week. I'm not going to do them again, but they're brought to you by Pump Jack's Steakhouse and Saloon, Pump Jack's Cathedral, Pump Jack's Weyburn. Come early and stay late at the place where friends meet. Point 3. For the baseball fans, as they get back at it in earnest, the Toronto Blue Jays have struggled to find much consistency this season, sitting 6 games under 500 at the All-Star break, but are still within striking distance of an American League wildcard spot. Jays host the White Sox Friday. The Athletics host the Nationals. Just so you know, the A's are 6.5 out of a wildcard spot. And our poll question today is for Country Thunder Music Festivals. Will the Toronto Blue Jays make the playoffs? And I'm throwing that in there because I voted yes. And so far, 70% of you are also saying yes. And I'll remind you, I mean, we weren't on the air in Nevada a year ago, but so many of you viewers were tuned in last summer at the All-Star break or coming out of it when the Blue Jays were just getting good. And we had the poll question then, are the Blue Jays going to make the playoffs? And the majority said no. And lo and behold, they go all the way to the World Series in Game 7 and almost took a lead into the 9th. Not to trigger warning, but 70% voting for Country Thunder. The daily poll saying, yes, the Blue Jays will make the playoffs. And by the way, the MLB trade deadline has been moved back almost a full week to Monday, August the 3rd. And so I'm doing some reading this morning. And frankly, my favorite American periodical, the USA Today, which I've subscribed to for decades. And because, again, hockey, football are tops for me. Baseball is third. I don't have time to read them all, so I'm reading this article this morning. 2/3 of teams in MLB, 20 teams out of the 30 are within striking distance of a playoff spot, which is very exciting, but it's really muddled up who the buyers and sellers are, or who are the prime buyers. But they don't feel, USA Today, that the Toronto Blue Jays are going to be buyers coming up ahead of the August 3rd deadline. But, I mean, there's a lot of baseball to be played between now and then. Oh, and just an interesting tidbit on that for all the people that really do love baseball and devote entire shows to that, like our friends Barker and Blair out of Toronto on Sportsnet. What are they going to do when there is a strike? Because mentioned this earlier in the week, because I'm seeing the coverage in the news and the looming, the work stoppage looming and the threats being made by Rob Manfred and the Players Association boss. And I'm like, I'm so not interested. So if you guys want to go away and not play baseball, I feel like that's going to be a you problem. It's definitely not going to be a me problem. And I put that to our viewers, and they didn't even respond. So I don't feel like I'm alone in that. Point 4 of the Quick Six show topics. With the sun obstructed by haze, Spain's players practiced Thursday ahead of the World Cup final outside in northern New Jersey while air conditions are hazardous because of smoke from Canadian wildfires. Argentina remained in the Atlanta area to work out less than 24 hours after rallying to beat England and reach the final for a second consecutive tournament. Marietta, Georgia, where I do know we have listeners. I've gotten mail from Marietta, Georgia. It's far enough south to avoid the effects of the fire, which are being windblown to the southeast from northern Ontario, triggering warnings from the U.S. Midwest throughout the Northeast. Argentina meets Spain in Sunday's World Cup final, 3 p.m. Eastern. He's talking about so much going on. Our former everyday co-host, Moose Dupont, was with us last hour, and he said he's all fired up for the final, Argentina versus Spain. You couldn't avoid it even if you wanted to. Yes, I'm aware it's 1:11 Eastern, guys and gals. I can just easily say think positively, but I'll also say this. Instead of living in the past, why not try living in the future and then envision a really great future for you? Just live there. See how that works out for you. Don't live in the past. Today's free advice. By the way, Rob in Vegas writes in, he says, experienced quarterback QB1 play is the reason for fewer picks. Yes, but it's turnovers overall. That's what I want to make clear here. The average amount of turnovers is 3.36 for both teams combined in a game. That's at an all-time low. I get that the quarterback plays better, but they're just not giving up the football, period. There are one other phase where you have possession of the football, special teams, and they're not giving up the ball either. I feel like it's more than just the quarterback play, and I feel like I'm entitled to my opinion. Jeff, the Stamps fan, writes in and says, now, why was Corey Mace doing Charleston Hughes Hall of Fame reveal? That should have come from the Stampeders. Ridiculous. Well, I'm sorry to tell you that there's no Santa Claus, but here's what I think about that. Charleston Hughes, who is our next guest, Hall of Famer, and I'm not going to ask him about his relationship with Calgary, but his Twitter account is still Saskatchewan. Geroy Simon doesn't have a whole lot of ties to the BC Lions, I noticed, in any of his public image at this point. You don't see me wearing green or the S. So, number one, my answer on why Charleston Hughes was welcomed to the Hall of Fame by Corey Mace likely is because I think the two have a very close relationship and played together for a long time. That would be number one. Number two, you guys just don't understand. God bless you that you haven't gone through what the players go through and the coaches, and I'll put myself in that category as a public person. Once you leave a place, it ain't that easy to smooth things over. God bless you that you all think that it is, but it's not. And I'm not going to get into that with Chucky. I don't know. I have no clue. And that's not what I'm going to ask him about when he joins us next. We'll talk about parts of his career and your questions as well. But the fact that Corey Mace did, I would think number one's because they're close friends. That's what I want to think. But in the end, it doesn't really matter. He's going to the Hall of Fame, and that really is what's the most exciting about that. 5th all-time in sacks in the Canadian Football League. And by the way, were you cheering for him to set the record? Because I was. And it sucked that season was wiped out. Not in the prime of Chucky's career, but darn close. I wanted him to set it because you know what? He's a good guy, and he's really funny. And he's a huge part of Canadian Football League lore. So Charleston Hughes is coming up next. Storm Chaser Ricky Forbes later on this hour. Any questions you've ever wanted asked about storm chasing, get them in now. Trust me, I have my own. We belong to the influencer agency Creator Aid, Ricky Forbes and I, the professional storm chaser. So it's a fun Friday here on the RP Show. 902-518-3033 is the text line. It's open for business. The YouTube chat as well. We'll be right back on Silver State Sports, Game Plus Streaming, and WQVZ.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with the Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more. There's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
You have a vision, a big idea. But how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection. Booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events. That's the EMJ difference.
We position your brand where it belongs, Guy, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw-up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live. Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
Welcome back. RP Show in Silver State Sports. Our guest segment brought to you by Prairie Panels. Are you building a shop, barn, rink, or commercial space or shooting lanes? Prairie Panels provides high-quality insulated wall and roof panels. Check them out at prairiepanels.ca. We got the Hall of Famer here, Charleston Hughes. Chucky, we only got an hour, so I can't go through your whole resume here for our viewers, but what do I need to say? Two-time Grey Cup champion, six-time All-Pro, 8-time Division All-Star, 5-time sack leader. You got it, buddy. Norm Fieldgate Trophy winner, which I know means a lot to you in 2013. But, buddy, Hall of Famer, how's it feel?
It feels good, man. I'm pretty happy about it. It was definitely a surprise to me, but I knew it was coming at some point in time. So it wasn't a total surprise, but it was just about when. So it's one of those things where it's like, man, I'm happy that it did happen, at the time that it did happen. And all I can do is say, man, kudos. Pat myself on the back.
You should. You absolutely should. And that's I get it now. You knew you were a Hall of Famer, but you never know, I guess, that you're going to get the call until you get the call. And by the way, he's from Saginaw, Michigan, Charleston Hughes, and played at Northwood. What's life been like for you since you got that call from your good friend Corey Mace? And talk about how that all went down and how it felt to have Corey Mace, the former NFL and CFL D lineman, current head coach of the Rough Riders, call you and welcome you in.
Yeah, life's been good, man. It's been pretty busy. Just been getting a lot of, recognition. Been getting a lot of, phone calls from players and coaches and GMs and best friends and family and, man, acquaintances and all the way across the board, man. Just people that, I've met along that 14-year stretch of playing football. And that's the one thing I think that's been great about it is you don't really recognize how many people you've touched and came in contact with and passed along the way, when you're performing and playing a sport. But now, I mean, it circled back around and all those people came back and said, hey, man, congratulations.
Tells you how loved that you are. And we've got 20 minutes here so I can get to all of my questions. But the one thing is I always noticed, even when you were in Calgary, that you had that stint in 2009 with the Philadelphia Eagles. What was going on in Philly when you were down there? What are your memories of that?
It was good, man. Like being in Philadelphia was one of those things where like I had the opportunity to play at the NFL level and really display my skills. For a little bit, I felt like I was the number one player, in that program, at least the number two player, especially when, Stuart Bradley, I think his name was at the time, when he got injured, I felt like I was the next guy up. But I ended up breaking my foot, in a preseason game, and that ended up kind of derailing my career there. Really couldn't recover back from that foot injury and ended up getting released from the team. But it was the worst thing that happened to me because now look where it led me to.
Of course. Well, you were an absolute, without question, NFL talent, but that allowed you to continue your chase of the CFL sack record and ultimately a spot in the Hall of Fame. The one question I had, and we were together in 2018, I called you games with the Rough Riders, but it's always a blur. I never had a chance to ask you. The surfing sack dance, where'd that come from?
I actually stole it from somebody. I stole it from somebody that played for the Philadelphia Eagles, and he did it just by not knowing how to celebrate or what to do. It was Quentin Demps. He returned a kick for a touchdown. And when he returned the kick for a touchdown in the game, I looked at him and he did like a little surf kind of thing. And I was like, hey, man, why you do that? He was like, man, I didn't know what else to do. So I just kind of did what the first thing that came to mind. And I was like, oh, okay. I was like, I'm still in that. And I kind of made a mental check and said, I'm going to put my own little twist to it. And that's going to be what I do from here on out.
Well, and what adds, nothing's original in marketing, by the way, so I should have known that it came from somewhere. But not only were you doing this, but you were smiling ear to ear when you did it. And, you're destroying our tackles out there when you're with the Stampeders. But I'm like, I couldn't not like you because you're having so much fun playing the game. I feel like every game out, every snap, you just loved it.
Yeah, man, I think the main reason why I enjoyed it so much, why I smiled so much, why I enjoyed every moment why I looked up into the stadium before every single game and just gave thanks to my source energy and said, I appreciate where I am and what I'm doing, is because I never had hopes of making it that far. I never had thought I was always that good enough to play at a high level, to play at a professional team. In high school, at best, I was 190 pounds soaking wet and a second team all conference player. So I wasn't all state. I barely got into college to play at a collegiate level. I ended up performing very well and saw that I had an opportunity to play sports, but it was a rough path even getting there. So even having the opportunity to do the things that I did, it was things that I kind of didn't even believe in myself at the time. So when I got to that level of being able to play football, being able to perform at a high level, man, you got to cherish moments like that when you got them and you're doing, things that were unimaginable to yourself. You got to enjoy those moments, and that's why I smile about it every day.
Well, and obviously you were realizing it when you were playing. You were living a dream. Does it make the Hall of Fame that much sweeter then to have not thought? I mean, they always say you're not thinking of the Hall of Fame when you're doing it, right? But once you got that call, I mean, what kind of reflections did you have on your career?
I mean, when you're going through my career like that, and I got teammates who are saying, man, you're a Hall of Famer. And I'm still playing, and I'm just like, man, I'm still chasing stuff. I'm still trying to perform my best year after year after year. And, the one thing that I kind of recognize is that, yes, I am playing at a high level. Yes, I am climbing the ranks in sacks. Yes, I am still, shooting for stuff, trying to be the best and trying to have the best legacy I can for, my family and family. And the thing is that you just live in the now. And I just made myself, kind of focused on living in the now and playing in the now. And don't worry about what happens down the line. Just focus on being the best player and the best impact that you can have now.
This is why I love reading the books. You got to write a book, Chucky, because this is like a how-to of life of what you're telling people here right now, how to go about your day. And I'll just say this because I don't know when I'm going to get a chance to talk to you again. I mean, I will, but I don't know when it'll be. I loved every second of watching you play, whether it was for us or the other team. But getting to know you, what I really appreciate about you is your honesty, and you're a no BS guy, and you're just going to tell people what you think. And it is what it is, but that's just the way that you are. And I think that's why we get along, because I'm the same way that way. But the viewers want to know if there was one sack in your mind that sticks out ahead of the others, that maybe there was you were more proud of the others,
I think the first time I got to sack Bo Levi Mitchell was like the one that kind of emphasized. It was the mic drop where I said, I told you I'd get you one day.
Well, tell me a little more about it. Tell me more about the story on it.
Bo, people like to talk about Bo because he's the kind of guy who kind of tells it how it is, too. He's a little bit of a trash talker. He plays with a chip on his shoulder, which he should. And, I do, too, at the same time. And I used to tell him all the time, like, if I ever lined up across from you, man, you going down 100%. And I remember sacking him, for the first time. It was Calgary against Saskatchewan. And that first time I took him down, man, and it felt I think he threw the ball at me and hit me in the back of the head with the ball after I took him down, too, if I'm not mistaken.
Well, I get it. I've never met the guy. I don't want to, but people tell me, Rod, you and Bo don't get along because you're too much alike. I'm like, I'll take your word for it. I don't want to know. Is there somebody that you didn't get? They also want to know, is there a quarterback that eluded you that you would have liked to have?
Kevin Glenn. Although I have sacked him before, but it should be more because he was the one guy who made a complete effort not to give up a sack to me. So whether he was throwing the ball away, I think he'll throw an interception before he give me a sack.
I feel like we made up a word today. I should have sacked him more. Did you ever get a chance to play against Manziel?
I did play against Manziel, man. He was one of the funnier guys that I've ever played against. I never heard a quarterback boast himself on the field while he was throwing passes, like throw an out route and go, "Whoo, that was a good throw right there." And I'm just sitting there looking during mid play, like this dude is goofy.
I think we're all aware of that. Yeah, but I remember when our guys were going up. I don't know if that what year that was, but our guys all wanted to bring him down just to say they sacked Johnny Manziel. I mean, I totally get it, right? I totally get it. Wayne in BC writes in. He goes, "I have to say, I never could hate Charleston, even when he played for the Stampeders. He's a Rider fan. I'm interested to know what the reaction was when you left the rival Calgary Stampeders to come to Saskatchewan. I'm watching it from the outside going, this looks like all love. I assume that's what it was."
I mean, yeah, it's all love, man. But I seen it coming, and I knew it was going to happen before the coaches even told me, or the organization even told me. Sometimes you can just see the writing on the wall, and when I talk amongst my players and talk amongst people, within the team, and you're going through contract negotiations and all that stuff, man. And I knew what was happening. I just thought that I probably deserved a little bit more respect on the end to not be, treated a certain way or treated a little bit better. So it is what it is. In the end, it's a business, and I got to operate as I'm a business too. So when it's all said and done, you just move on.
Well, I'll tell you what, if you haven't already, you could sit down with G. Roy Simon, who was just on the air the other day, and I feel like he was biting his lip wanting to talk about that. Or anybody. I said it with G. Roy. Anytime you leave somewhere that you've been for a long time, it's not. You and Bo could sit down and talk about it, about the very same place. It is what it is, man. Like, when are you over it? Did the Hall of Fame help close a chapter or two for you?
It did, man. It closed a chapter, in my life when it comes to football. I retired for the CFL. Didn't necessarily retire for a team. I just retired from my performance for all teams. So the thing is I gave every team everything I had when I played on the field, and that's the only thing that I'm proud of. Only team I probably didn't is, but there's a reason for that.
Yeah, right. Well, I'll tell you what. I really wanted you to set that all-time CFL sack record. I know that you're going to go to your grave regretting. I just know it. We've never even talked about it, but for those that don't understand, explain what we're talking about here.
It was the one thing that probably shut the whole entire thing down, and that was COVID. COVID kind of derailed my career at that point because I really couldn't take a year off. It was at a time in my career where I had to keep producing year after year after year after year to maintain, a level of defying gravity, because old age will catch up to you at some point. But I was doing a great job of prolonging it, taking care of my body, and being able to train and work out. Well, COVID took that all away from me, where now I had to run stairs in my condo or lift beer cans or lift water bottles and lift anything else trying to get a workout in. I mean, it was tough, man, during that time. And that was that one thing that kind of took all that away from me. I think I tried to make a comeback, but, taking a year off is hard. And it took my momentum away. It took away a lot of motivation. And, I think it just overall just impacted, the older crowd, quite a bit when it came to veteran players.
Oh, of course. But you know what? There were college kids that had their careers snuffed out entirely because of COVID. You know what I mean? I guess it could have been worse. But for our U.S. viewers, Charleston was 21 sacks shy of the all-time record. And just you led the league in sacks 5 times. Like, it was going to happen, right, Chuck? It was going to happen.
All I needed was 2 seasons. 2 seasons, and I would have broken that record. I would have broken that record after the 2020 season, if I was a legitimate starter and I would have stayed in Saskatchewan afterwards. If I stayed in Saskatchewan, I would have broke it, but I decided to leave and go to Toronto. And if I would have played that whole season, I would have broke it that season too. But the thing is the chips lie where they fall.
Right. Everything happens for a reason. It is what it is, and you're going to the Hall of Fame anyways. And frankly, I'm really excited to hear your speech. Have you even started to think about what you're going to say or who you might thank in that thing?
I'm more of a speak from the heart kind of player. Well, I have
Oh,
some
boy.
some mental points, but yeah, but I don't need to write nothing out when I'm going up there talking, to everyone about, my accomplishments and my performance, or the impact and the mental state I was in during that time and the mental state after. I mean, I'm a talkative person. I can go up there and hold my own in front of millions. Trust me.
You'll be great. I know you'll be great. I can't wait. Speaking of this, before we go, we only got 2 minutes. Who was the D end, or maybe he wasn't a D end? Who was the football player that you really idolized growing up?
Ooh, that I really idolized growing up. Probably Ray Lewis, man. I probably idolized Ray Lewis just because of the leadership, the intensity that he brought to the game, and just the impact that he had in every game he played. You felt like he gave his all every single play, every single moment that he had, whether on the field or off the field. And I tried to kind of implement my game into that, to have an impact, to people off the field and have the same impact during football games.
Well, you both have iconic dances. His is when he came onto the field, and yours after you sacked somebody. So that's great. I think we're down to less than 2 minutes now. Is there a player in the NFL today that reminds you of you?
There might be. One guy that I like watching is probably Max Crosby. I
I
think
was
he
thinking
is an
it.
absolute ball player. He's very technical, very smart, knows what he's getting after it on the field, and I like his game.
Okay, who are the teams in the NFL and CFL that you cheer for, or do you have any?
If I would cheer right now, I'd probably cheer for.
Yeah, of course. That's never changed. Yeah, of course. Hey, you're from Michigan. Who else are you going to cheer for, right? Old habits die hard.
There you go.
And so that's in the NFL, and how about the CFL?
CFL, I'm probably rooting for Sass, man. I hope Sass pull it back again. I gotta root for those guys, man. That's the one team that still reaches out to me, checks in on me, makes sure I'm okay. Everybody in the organization still kind of, supports me even after playing football. They still call to ask, my expertise about stuff on the field. What did I look for? How can it get better? And, I have more dialect with them than anybody else, in the CFL. Sadly as it sounds, it's just like that. So,
Well, I'll tell you this. I was very, very, very glad to cross paths with you in 2018 and call your games. It was so much fun for me. So I appreciate all the memories, Charleston. Appreciate you coming on today. Hall of Famer sounds so good, even though we all knew the day was coming. It's finally here. So congratulations, my man. Keep in touch.
Charleston Hughes, HOF 2026.
That's right. Yeah, you have to sign the 26 on the end, like all the big timers. HOF 26. Yeah. All right. Way to go, Chucky. Appreciate you. Have a good weekend.
Peace.
Charleston, Chucky Hughes, off to the Canadian Football Hall of Fame, NFL and CFL alum. We'll be coming right back with a sports update and viewer takeover the rest of the way. Man, what a great way to go into the weekend here on the RP Show.
You have a vision, a big idea, but how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection. Booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events, that's the EMJ difference.
We position your brand where it belongs, Guy, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world! Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with The Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is, you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more, there's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world! Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Hiring a video company shouldn't be complicated. Click, pay, done. Skycron.com/Regina.
All right, welcome back, everybody. We are expecting to be joined momentarily by Ricky Forbes, professional storm chaser. Until we are, let's jump into a sports update. 5 weeks and 102 games later, 103 if you count Saturday's third-place consolation match, Spain and Argentina will battle on Sunday in the Meadowlands in a World Cup final worthy of one of the most entertaining tournaments in recent memory. We're talking World Cup now. Argentina's penchant for late-game heroics, fueled by arguably the greatest player ever to lace up a pair of boots, will square off against Spain's unyielding spine on the biggest stage in sports. That's right, Spain versus Argentina, Sunday, 3 p.m. Eastern. It was our poll question the other day. I didn't see what the end of the results were, so I'll ask you right now, are you going to be watching or not? Let us know on the YouTube chat. It's a yes for me, dog. That's not the poll question today, though. I'll update that in a second. Well, this is already old news. Florida native Jackson Suber had never been to Europe or even played links golf before this week. He's ranked 115th, has competed in just 2 majors, and prepared for Royal Birkdale by watching YouTube videos of the course. No matter, on Thursday he posted a 5 under 65 to take the opening lead at the Open Championship, the opening round lead. They're already well into day 2, but he's not even leading anymore. So we'll move on. Regular season baseball returned on Thursday night as the Mets took down the Phillies 4-1 to kick off MLB's second half. The Mets not only have the 4th worst record in baseball, they also have the toughest remaining strength of schedule. So forget about them. But a 2024 World Series rematch headlines MLB's first weekend back after the All-Star break, with the Yankees hosting the Dodgers tonight, Saturday, and Sunday. Dodgers and Yankees have MLB's highest and 3rd highest payroll spending. Hey, we got him. We got him. Ricky Forbes, I'm jumping right in right now. Thank you, man. Thanks for taking a break from storm chasing, by the way. You know, You know, I've been a longtime fan of yours, by the way. I'm going to jump right into it. You know, you're on a sports show. You got to explain to me professional storm chasing. What is a typical day like for you in storm season like this?
You know, it's a lot of forecasting. It's a lot of driving, and it's tracking all over the United States and Canada, going after the biggest storms we can find.
Where are you joining us from today?
Currently, I'm home in Saskatoon, but right after this call, I'm heading out to Alberta for the day, and then Saskatchewan tomorrow.
Okay, well, I said to the viewers, if you have any questions for Ricky, fire them our way. I think we all want to know. We all love the movie Twister. Was that dramatized Hollywood stuff, Ricky? It's kind of what you do, or is it not what you do? Explain that for us, please.
You know what? I would say 95% of what you see in Twister is what I see in real life. The only thing of the last movie that isn't quite reality is the whole idea of trying to stop the tornado. They were sending up, I forget, whatever was in that diaper mix. That doesn't happen. Otherwise, everything else, though, everything you see in that movie, that's how it is in real life.
Well, you know, we only got a couple minutes left here. Where can people follow your stuff, by the way? Because you've been doing this for a while. You got a great social media presence. Tell folks where they can follow you.
Sure. Yeah, appreciate it. If you just search up Ricky Forbes on any platform, you'll see my work. Some of the best goes to Instagram and YouTube, but any platform, Ricky Forbes.
Well, you've got a great bio. What would you tell the viewers is like your penultimate moment? You've been in the world's biggest storm. Tell me about that.
Sure. Yeah. I've been caught in many tornadoes, but also, the biggest being caught inside the world's largest tornado on record. It was a tornado that was over 4 kilometers wide on the ground, a tornado as far as you could see. And we were one of the few storm chasing teams that had footage of that. And, over the years, been a part of many different TV shows, currently on Discovery's Eye of the Storm this year. And got lots of footage in that. And we'll be doing more documentaries and TV shows going forward. Been doing it for over 15 years. So definitely becoming an old timer in the storm chasing world, but it's good. I love it. I love everything about storm chasing.
Well, I can tell by the smile on your face. It feels like bull riding, though. Like, is your family worried about you? I'm worried for you. I don't even know you.
When I first started, the first few years, we did feel invincible. I was young. I was in my 20s, and we made a lot of mistakes then. But, with experience, everything does get a lot safer. But I like what you just said about bull riding. That's why I say that is what storm chasing is like, because you have a pretty good idea what's going to happen, but you're not certain. And sometimes it does get a little Western, but that's why we drive a big truck.
All right, Ricky, we'll be following. Safe travels this weekend. Stay safe.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Professional storm chaser Ricky Forbes. Give him a follow on social media, everybody. We'll bring him back when we have more time. We'll be right back with Overtime right after this on the RP Show.
This is a test pattern. This is what happens when your video company screws up. You don't want your clients to see a screw-up. Hire a company that only does video, so it won't screw up. Then, people who give you money will see less of these and more of you. Skycron.com/live.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest-growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
Sports fans, daytime sports talk gets a whole lot better weekdays at noon Eastern with The Rod Pedersen Show. Talking sports daily with A-list guests, and the best part is you can always join the discussion as we're the most interactive talk show on television. Broadcasting from coast to coast from the biggest events like Super Bowl, Stanley Cup Final, Grey Cup, and more. There's nothing like it in the game today. The Rod Pedersen Show, daily at noon Eastern and 10 p.m. Pacific on Game Plus Network.
Business owners and marketers. Okay, we know you think we're pretty cool. That's why we want you to share in the coolness factor. Partner with the Rod Pedersen Show and market your business every weekday to sports lovers just like yourself. Take advantage of our many cost-effective commercial and promotional opportunities. Tell the world about your business. Yes, the world. Thanks to Game Plus TV and the Rod Pedersen Digital Network. Contact us today and find out how you can be a part of Canada's fastest growing sports talk show, The Rod Pedersen Show.
You have a vision, a big idea. But how do you turn ambition into absolute impact? It starts with connection. Booking top-tier speakers and executing seamless events. That's the EMJ difference.
We position your brand where it belongs, Guy, through powerful advertising, strategic media, and promotion that drives results. At EMJ Marketing, we don't just promote, we partner. Your growth, our mission.
Do you worry about how much someone drinks?
Do you feel angry or depressed most of the time? Do you feel neglected or unloved?
Do you feel that if the drinker loved you, she or he would stop drinking?
If you answered yes to any of these questions, you are not alone.
Not everyone trapped by alcohol is an alcoholic.
Families and friends are suffering too.
Al-Anon and
Alateen can help. Call 1-866-200-0223 or visit alanon.org/help.
Looking for a new ride without the big city pressure? Come to Western Dodge in Moose Jaw, where you'll find an unbeatable lineup of Ram trucks, Jeep SUVs, Dodge Muscle, and Chrysler family rides. With knowledgeable staff, great prices, and that friendly Moose Jaw touch, you'll drive away with confidence. Western Dodge, big selection, small town service. Visit us today or browse online at westerndodge.ca. All right, welcome back, everybody. Well, this has been the ultimate variety show today, hasn't it? Great work, by the way, producer Corey. Juggling with Moose, juggling with Ricky. Chucky was the most stable one of them all in terms of getting them in and everything, and I would not have bet on that today. So, yeah, the comments that have come in from the viewers have been great. They've loved all of our viewers and our guests, and I apologize. I haven't been able to get to all of your comments here. For instance, viewer Jason says, "Hey, Ricky, whatever happened with you and the old tornado hunters?" Next time he comes on, we'll get into those viewer questions. Brent from the Bridge City writes in. He says, "Utah man, Charleston Hughes." Kevin the Medium says, "Any thoughts on coaching at the CFL level?" Rob in Las Vegas says, "Congrats on the Hall of Fame, Charleston. Well-deserved. I'll pass them all along." Oh, and by the way, Brent from the Bridge City says he won't be watching soccer. I feel like that's probably a common refrain from our viewers. Completely off the board. There were a lot of things that I had written down in terms of notes that I didn't even get to today that I wanted to because so much was going up. We've been doing our own little surfing, trying to get the guests on and everything. But I will say, I was on the air in Amarillo, Texas this morning with our guy, Kenny Nagunst. You saw him yesterday. Today I was on Kenny's show. And his co-host, Dusty, asked me who I thought would be the Stanley Cup favorite this season. And I'm like, honestly, I said, ask me that next time I come on because I haven't even thought about it. And off the top of my head, I wanted to say the Florida Panthers because that's where I live and that's the team that I cover. But I'm like, I don't want to be the homer guy. So I went and looked this up. And by the way, Kevin the Medium, if you're still watching, trigger warning, you might not want to hear this. Here we are talking NHL Stanley Cup futures odds in the middle of July because that's what we do. And I feel like we've covered everything else today already. The number one favorite to win the Stanley Cup in 2027 is, are you ready? The Florida Panthers. They are. And I'm not sure I even agree with that, but they are. And Vegas viewers, you're going to want to be tuned in because you're going to hear your team here right away. Hot on their heels, like right behind, it's plus 700 for Florida, plus 750 the Carolina Hurricanes, plus 800 the Colorado Avalanche. I said to Dusty, Kenny's co-host, I said, it's going to be the usual suspects. The Dallases, the Carolinas, Colorado, and that's what we have. Florida 1, Carolina 2, Colorado 3, the Edmonton Oilers 4. And the odd thing is Dusty's an Oilers fan down there in Amarillo, Texas. I don't even know the story as to why, and he wanted to know why they hired Mike Babcock. He didn't like that move. And I said, well, because the owner couldn't wait to interview Bruce Cassidy. And who knows, they might end up winning the whole Stanley Cup anyways with Mike Babcock. That would not. I'm not picking them, but they are the fourth favorite to win. By the way, this is at FanDuel. The Washington Capitals are fifth. The Vegas Golden Knights are sixth. We mentioned this back in hour one when Moose was with us. 7, the Tampa Bay Lightning. 8, the Minnesota Wild. 9, the Dallas Stars. And 10, the New Jersey Devils, which frankly shocks the hell out of me. Just so you know, these are the betting odds. By no means does it mean that they're going to win it. It's July after all. But we're through free agency. We're through the coaching cycle, right? So that's a pretty accurate thing. But I always like to go to the bottom 5. Is that morbid? Maybe it is. So the 32nd team, dead last in the National Hockey League. Are you ready? The Vancouver Canucks. Do we have a sound effect for that? Wah, wah, wah. Number 31st team, the Calgary Flames. I saw this morning on Twitter. They said, assuming the Flames won't make the playoffs this year, the last ever game in the Saddle Dome will be against the Vancouver Canucks. A double. Wah, wah, wah. The 2 worst teams in the NHL will close out the oldest arena in the NHL, if that ends up happening. So 32 Vancouver, 31 Calgary, 30 the Seattle Kraken, 32 Vancouver, 31 Calgary, 30 Seattle, 29 Chicago Blackhawks, 28 the St. Louis Blues. Oh my God, I will be flushing these thoughts going into the weekend because I'll be thinking about the baseball that I have to broadcast tonight on Flow College, my induction into the CKRM Hall of Fame Saturday. I'm not worried about the hockey, but my word, the Vancouver Canucks fans and Calgary Flames fans, you're sitting here in July with no hope. Not any different than a year ago, but less hope than you had even last year. And I don't mind talking about it here on the RP show because our viewers love hockey. I don't mind talking about it on Silver State Sports in Vegas because, as you all know, we are Vegas's hockey show, NHL show, Golden Knight show. That's what they tell me. So, yeah, I don't mind bringing it up. For all the rest of you writing in with your kind comments, have a great weekend. Be safe, everybody. We got through a wonderful week here on the RP show. Follow our social media channels because we'll be keeping the discussion going all weekend long. Football talk, baseball talk, hockey talk, all the rest. Jeff the Stamps fan says, go, Stamps, go. Yeah, there are some fun and good CFL games. And interesting, Jeff the Stamps fan, I think I didn't know or need. Charleston went there. I didn't have to go there. You want to know why the Stampeders didn't welcome Charleston Hughes to the Hall of Fame? Ask them. But I feel like you got your answer from Charleston Hughes on that. I don't think the fans are ever going to understand that. The G-Roys, the me's. It doesn't, you don't just get over it. In a lot of cases, you never get over it. So what you do is you look forward, not back if you can. Okay, thanks for coming to my TED Talk. Same goes for your life, by the way. Think on that. We'll reconvene on Monday. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. Thanks, Ricky Forbes, Charleston Hughes, The Moose, producer Corey. See you Monday.
That.